The first thing the alien instructors noticed was that the humans were smiling. That was not supposed to happen. Outside the armored transport, Varkos 9 was tearing itself apart. Lightning crawled across a violet sky. Black clouds twisted above mountains that looked like the bones of some enormous dead creature. Rain struck the transport like liquid metal, while distant roars shook the ground hard enough to make the windows vibrate. Varkos 9 was classified as a Level 10 Deathworld. No civilian settlement existed there. No species had ever colonized it. And according to the galactic military records, only 17 elite soldiers had survived more than 72 hours on its surface. Now 12 humans stood inside the landing chamber. Their equipment was simple. Their weapons were standard. Their faces, however, showed something the instructors couldn't understand. Curiosity. Captain Vaylor, the alien commander responsible for the evaluation, stared through the glass at the storm. "Human recruits," he announced, "you have been given 6 hours to reach the extraction beacon." A holographic map appeared. The beacon was nearly 40 kilometers away. Between them stood poisonous forests, unstable cliffs, magnetic storms, and predators that could tear through military armor. Vaylor waited for fear. Instead, one human raised his hand. Question. Vaylor looked annoyed. Yes. Are we allowed to leave the marked route? The commander hesitated. You may use any method necessary to reach the beacon. The human nodded. Good. The transport doors opened. The 12 humans stepped outside. The storm swallowed them. For several minutes, the instructors watched their thermal signatures disappear between the trees. Then something strange happened. One human stopped. He crouched beside the mud. Another examined the trees. A third pointed toward the sky. They weren't running toward the beacon. They were studying the planet. Vaylor leaned closer to the display. What are they doing? His tactical officer checked the sensors. They appear to be observing. Observing what? We don't know. Then the humans suddenly changed direction. They moved deeper into the forest, directly toward a region marked in red. Extreme predator territory. Vaylor's eyes widened. Stop the evaluation. The tactical officer looked confused. They haven't broken any rules. That region is forbidden for a reason. Before the order could be transmitted, a massive creature exploded from the trees. It was nearly 6 meters tall. Its armored jaws snapped shut inches from a human soldier. The alien instructors expected screaming. Instead, the human rolled beneath it, grabbed something from the ground, and shouted. Guys! It's blind on the left side. The others immediately changed formation. Within seconds, 12 humans were moving together. Not fighting. Learning. Vaylor stared at the screen in disbelief. Then the human leader looked directly into the helmet camera. He smiled. Interesting planet. And somewhere beneath Varkos 9's surface, something ancient suddenly woke up. The Deathworld had just noticed the humans. The ancient signal beneath Varkos 9 lasted exactly 11 seconds. Then it vanished. In the orbital command station, every alien sensor went silent. Captain Vaylor stared at the empty display. Tell me that was a malfunction. The tactical officer swallowed. It wasn't. Then what was it? We don't know. Vaylor looked back toward the planet. Below them, the 12 humans were still moving through the forest. They had no idea that something beneath their feet had just awakened. Or perhaps they did. On the surface, the human leader, Daniel Cross, suddenly stopped walking. Everyone freeze. The team stopped instantly. The jungle was silent. Too silent. No insects. No wind. No distant animal calls. Daniel slowly raised his hand. Something changed. One of the soldiers whispered, "What?" Daniel pointed toward the trees. "The predators stopped hunting us." Nobody answered. Then they heard it. A deep metallic vibration beneath the ground. Thump. The earth trembled. Leaves fell from the branches. A second vibration followed. Thump. This time, something answered from deep inside the mountain. The humans exchanged glances. The alien instructors watched helplessly from orbit. Their sensors suddenly detected hundreds of heat signatures surrounding the human team. Vaylor's face went pale. Predators? No. Then what? The tactical officer zoomed in. They're moving underground. The ground beneath the humans cracked. Daniel shouted, "Move." The entire team sprinted. A massive black appendage erupted from the soil behind them, smashing trees apart. The humans barely escaped. But the creature didn't chase. It simply disappeared beneath the earth. Daniel stopped. That's weird. His teammates stared at him. We almost died. Exactly. Daniel crouched beside the broken ground. Something drove it away. He touched the soil. It was warm. Far too warm. Then he noticed something buried beneath the mud. A smooth metallic surface. He brushed the dirt away. A symbol appeared. None of the humans recognized it. But in orbit, Valor did. His entire body went rigid. That symbol belonged to a civilization that had vanished 200,000 years ago. A civilization the Galactic Council officially claimed had never existed. Tell them to leave that area, Valor ordered. The communications officer hesitated. Sir, should we tell them why? No. Why? Valor stared at the symbol. Because if the humans activate that facility, we may have a much bigger problem than the Deathworld. On the planet below, Daniel suddenly discovered a narrow seam in the metal. He looked at his team. Guys. The door beneath the jungle floor slowly began opening. A cold blue light spilled across their faces. And from somewhere inside the darkness came a voice. Not alien. Not human. Just 3 words. You have returned. The humans didn't move. The voice echoed through the underground chamber again. You have returned. Daniel Cross slowly raised his weapon. Return from where? No answer came. Instead, the blue light intensified. Symbols appeared across the walls, thousands of them, glowing like frozen stars. The human team stared in silence. Above Varkos 9, Captain Valor watched through the tactical feed. His expression had changed completely. Cut their transmission. The communications officer looked at him. Sir. Now. The screen went black. Valor turned toward his officers. If the humans ask what they found, tell them nothing. But sir, why? Valor stared at the planet. Because that facility isn't an ancient weapons base. He paused. It is a training facility. On the surface, Daniel stepped closer to the wall. A circular symbol suddenly changed. It displayed an image. A planet. Then another. Then thousands. Each world appeared to be covered by the same black symbols. The team's engineer whispered, that's not a map. Daniel looked at him. What is it? A record. The hologram changed. A species appeared. Tall. Armored. Terrifying. Behind them was an enormous fleet. Then the image shifted. The fleet was destroyed. One world after another went dark. The humans watched as the ancient civilization fought something invisible. Something that never showed its face. Then the final recording appeared. A single figure stood before the facility. Its face was hidden behind a helmet. The figure spoke. When the enemy returns, only a species capable of surviving the impossible can activate the defense. Daniel frowned. Why would they need a species like that? The answer appeared immediately. The hologram displayed dozens of alien species. Each attempted the same test. Each failed. Then the image showed something that made the humans freeze. A human. Standing inside the facility. Daniel stepped backward. That's impossible. The human figure looked exactly like him. Same height. Same facial structure. Same scar above the eyebrow. But the recording was at least 200,000 years old. Before anyone could speak, the facility shook violently. Warning symbols flashed. The ancient voice returned. Defense trial beginning. Daniel looked toward the entrance. Outside, the jungle erupted. Hundreds of creatures emerged from the trees. But these weren't the predators they had seen earlier. Their bodies were covered in glowing armor. Their eyes burned blue. And they weren't attacking randomly. They were forming a circle. Around the humans. Daniel tightened his grip. His team waited for orders. Then he smiled. Looks like the real training just started. Far above them, Valor whispered something no human could hear. No. That's not training. His sensors detected something rising beneath the planet. Something enormous. Something that had been waiting for 200,000 years. And now. It was waking up. The mountain moved. Not shook. Moved. A section of Varkos 9's surface lifted several hundred meters into the air, exposing a colossal structure beneath it. Daniel and his team stared upward. The thing was larger than a city. Its black metallic walls disappeared into the clouds, covered with ancient symbols that pulsed with blue light. Then every predator surrounding the humans suddenly lowered itself. They weren't attacking anymore. They were kneeling. Daniel slowly lowered his weapon. That's new. His team engineer stared at his scanner. Those creatures aren't biological. Daniel looked at him. What? They're machines. Before anyone could react, every creature's eyes turned toward the humans. A single voice echoed across the valley. Trial 1, survive. The ground exploded. The humans scattered as massive mechanical predators charged from every direction. Daniel shouted commands. Formation. The team moved instantly. One soldier climbed a broken tree and fired at a creature's exposed joint. Another used the terrain to redirect a charging machine into a ravine. Their engineer discovered something even more disturbing. They're adapting to us. Daniel ducked beneath a mechanical claw. What do you mean? They learn every attack. Daniel looked toward the swarm. The machines were already changing their movements. The first assault had been predictable. The second wasn't. The third was terrifying. The humans were being studied. And whatever controlled the facility was becoming better at defeating them with every minute. On the orbital station, Valor watched the battle. His officers were silent. Sir, one finally whispered, should we extract them? Valor didn't answer. Because something even worse had appeared on his screen. The facility's system had detected the humans as authorized candidates. Not intruders. Not prisoners. Candidates. The ancient system had been waiting for them. Below, Daniel noticed a strange pattern. Every time the machines attacked, they left one corridor completely unguarded. He stared at it. Why would they do that? His engineer checked the readings. That corridor leads deeper into the facility. Daniel suddenly understood. They aren't trying to kill us. His team looked at him. They're pushing us somewhere. The machines attacked again. The humans fought their way toward the corridor. The moment Daniel stepped inside, every mechanical predator stopped. The doors slammed shut behind them. Darkness swallowed the team. Then hundreds of blue lights appeared. A massive holographic figure materialized before them. It looked ancient. But its voice was calm. You have survived Trial 1. Daniel waited. What happens now? The figure's eyes brightened. Trial 2 begins when you understand that survival is not the objective. The chamber doors opened. Beyond them was an enormous underground arena. And standing in the center was something that looked exactly like a human soldier. Except it was 3 times their size. The giant figure opened its eyes. They glowed white. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then Daniel whispered. That's not a machine. The engineer scanned it. His face went pale. Daniel, it's biological. The giant human-like creature stepped forward. Every footstep shook the arena. It had human proportions, human hands, and a face that looked disturbingly familiar. But its body was covered with scars. Thousands of them. The ancient hologram spoke again. Trial 2, defeat the perfected survivor. The creature suddenly disappeared. Daniel barely raised his weapon before something struck him across the arena. He crashed into a wall. His team opened fire. The bullets did nothing. The creature moved faster than any biological organism should have been capable of moving. One soldier tried to flank it. The creature turned before he even arrived. It knew. It was predicting them. Daniel struggled to stand. Stop shooting. Everyone froze. The creature stood motionless. Daniel stared at its eyes. It isn't predicting us. His engineer understood. It's reading our movements. Daniel shook his head. No. He looked at the creature. It's reading our intentions. The arena went silent. Above Varkos 9, Captain Valor watched the feed with growing horror. He finally understood what the ancient facility was doing. It wasn't training soldiers. It was creating them. Every civilization that had entered this facility had been tested against increasingly advanced versions of itself. The final stage was always the same. Fight your own potential. But humans had never reached that stage. Until now. Inside the arena, Daniel dropped his weapon. His teammates stared at him. What are you doing? Changing the rules. The creature charged. Daniel didn't attack. He stepped aside. The creature stopped. Daniel smiled. You're expecting us to fight you. The creature tilted its head. So what happens if we don't? For the first time, the creature hesitated. Daniel turned toward his team. Everyone sit down. They stared at him like he had lost his mind. But one by one, they lowered their weapons. The giant creature stood motionless. 10 seconds passed. 20. Then its chest opened. Inside was a glowing core. The ancient hologram appeared again. Unexpected behavior detected. Daniel smiled. Yeah. He pointed at the machine. We're humans. The facility began shaking. The hologram flickered. Then an emergency message appeared. Warning, candidates have exceeded simulation parameters. Valor jumped to his feet. Shut it down. The system ignored him. Another message appeared. Original training objective restored. Then every screen across the orbital station displayed the same terrifying sentence. Prepare humanity for the returning enemy. Valor stared at it. Because he finally realized the truth. The Deathworld wasn't testing whether humans could survive. It was testing whether they were ready for what was coming. The message appeared on every screen. Prepare humanity for the returning enemy. For several seconds, the orbital command station was completely silent. Then the entire station shook. Not from an attack. From something leaving Varkos 9. A massive energy column erupted from the planet and pierced the atmosphere. Valor stared at the readings. What's happening? The tactical officer's voice trembled. Something is coming out of the facility. The sensors suddenly went blind. Then one by one, communication channels across the system began disappearing. The humans were still underground. Daniel watched the ancient hologram flicker. What enemy? The hologram didn't answer. Instead, the arena walls opened. Beyond them was a massive chamber filled with thousands of suspended objects. Weapons. Ships. Armor. Machines. Entire fleets. All frozen in time. The engineer stared in disbelief. This isn't a training facility. Daniel looked around. What is it? A military archive. Then one object began moving. A black sphere descended from the ceiling. Its surface opened like an eye. The ancient voice returned. Enemy identification protocol activated. The sphere projected a star map. Hundreds of worlds appeared. Then one by one, they turned red. Daniel watched in silence. What happened to them? The answer came instantly. Consumed. The map zoomed farther outward. The red worlds weren't isolated. They formed a trail. A trail moving toward the Galactic Alliance. The enemy wasn't somewhere far away. It was coming directly toward them. Suddenly, the facility's walls began displaying images. Massive ships. Black structures larger than planets. Armies of creatures that moved like shadows. Daniel stared at the images. How long? The hologram answered. 27 days. Nobody spoke. 27 days until something capable of consuming entire worlds reached the galaxy. Daniel turned toward his team. How many ships does the Alliance have? His engineer checked the military database. Thousands. Daniel nodded. And the enemy? The engineer hesitated. We don't know. A second calculation appeared. The facility estimated the enemy fleet. The number filled the chamber. 2.4 million vessels. One soldier whispered. We can't win. Daniel looked at the ancient weapons surrounding them. Then he smiled. Good. Everyone stared at him. Daniel walked toward the largest sealed chamber. Because if we could win easily, they wouldn't need us. He placed his hand against the door. It opened. Inside was a massive black spacecraft. Unlike anything humanity had ever built. Its hull seemed to absorb the surrounding light. The ancient system spoke one final sentence. This vessel has never been defeated. Daniel stepped aboard. Then let's see what it can teach us. Above the planet, Valor suddenly received a final transmission. His face went pale. A fleet had appeared at the edge of the system. Not the enemy. Something much older. And every ship was broadcasting the same message. The humans have been found. The humans have been found. The message repeated across every communication channel. Captain Valor stared at the alien fleet surrounding Varkos 9. There were thousands of ships. But they weren't attacking. They were waiting. The ancient facility suddenly opened every defense platform beneath the planet. Massive weapons rose from the mountains. Orbital cannons activated. And then the black human-shaped warship emerged from the Deathworld. Every alien vessel went silent. The ship was enormous. Its hull appeared almost completely black, absorbing the light around it. Blue energy moved beneath its armor like veins. Daniel stood on the bridge. He looked at the alien fleet. Are they friendly? The navigation officer checked the signals. No idea. Daniel smiled. Then let's not give them a reason to become enemies. The black ship moved forward. Instantly, every alien weapon locked onto it. Valor shouted. Do not fire. But another voice interrupted him. An ancient transmission filled the bridge. Humanity has activated the final vessel. The alien fleet began retreating. Daniel frowned. They're afraid of us. Valor watched the scene from orbit. No. His voice was barely audible. They're afraid of what that ship means. Suddenly, the stars ahead of them disappeared. Not dimmed. Disappeared. A massive black formation emerged from hyperspace. Millions of enemy vessels. The returning enemy had arrived 12 days earlier than predicted. Every alien commander panicked. The fleet was too large. The Alliance had no chance. Then Daniel received a transmission from the ancient facility. Final trial, command the last defense. Daniel looked at the tactical display. The Alliance fleet was scattered. Different species used different communication systems. Their ships couldn't coordinate. Daniel immediately understood. They weren't going to defeat 2 million ships with one superweapon. They needed the entire galaxy. He opened every communication channel. This is Human Commander Daniel Cross. Thousands of alien commanders listened. We don't have enough ships. Silence. We don't have enough weapons. More silence. And we definitely don't have enough time. A few alien commanders began disconnecting. Daniel continued. But we have something they don't. The tactical display changed. Every battlefield. Every planet. Every fleet. All connected. We learn faster. The human command system began analyzing enemy movements in real time. The alien fleet followed. Human tactics spread from ship to ship. The battle lines changed. For the first time, millions of alien soldiers were fighting as one. The enemy fleet surged forward. Daniel stared at the approaching darkness. Let's see what happens when the Deathworld trains an entire galaxy. The first wave struck. Millions of ships vanished into the explosion. Then the enemy stopped. Something enormous emerged behind their fleet. A structure larger than a planet. Daniel's expression hardened. The ancient system displayed one final warning. Primary enemy unit has arrived. And for the first time since entering Varkos 9. Daniel didn't smile. The structure blocked the stars. It was so enormous that entire fleets disappeared beneath its shadow. Every sensor on the human flagship failed at once. No weapons. No communications. No navigation. For the first time, Daniel Cross had no plan. The ancient system spoke quietly. Primary enemy unit has arrived. Daniel stared at the impossible structure. Then he noticed something. The enemy wasn't attacking. It was waiting. Why? His engineer checked the readings again. Commander, it's scanning us. Daniel looked at the Deathworld below. Then at the alien fleets. Then at the enemy. Suddenly, he understood. The enemy wasn't interested in destroying humanity. It was testing humanity. Just as the Deathworld had. Daniel smiled. They're doing the same thing. The enemy released thousands of smaller vessels. They attacked the Alliance from every direction. But this time, the galaxy was ready. Alien commanders used human tactics. Human ships adapted alien technology. Every defeat became information. Every loss became a lesson. The enemy changed strategy. Humanity changed faster. The battle continued for hours. Then days. The impossible enemy began losing ground. Its massive structure finally moved toward Earth. Millions of ships surrounded it. Daniel ordered the entire fleet to retreat. The alien commanders panicked. Retreat? Daniel answered calmly. Yes. But Earth will be exposed. Exactly. The enemy followed. It entered Earth's orbit. And that was the moment Daniel had been waiting for. The Deathworld's ancient defense network activated. But it wasn't aimed at the enemy. It was aimed at Earth. Valor stared in horror. What is he doing? Daniel opened a galaxy-wide transmission. Every species listening to me, remember what Varkos 9 taught us. The Deathworld appeared on every screen. A place designed to kill everything that entered it. Daniel continued. Survival doesn't mean avoiding danger. He looked toward Earth. It means learning how to use it. The ancient defense system activated. Earth's atmosphere transformed. Gravity shifted. Magnetic fields intensified. The planet became a weapon. The enemy fleet suddenly lost control. Ships crashed into one another. Weapons malfunctioned. Their formation collapsed. The human fleet returned. The galaxy attacked together. The enormous structure finally cracked. Light erupted across the battlefield. Then silence. The enemy was gone. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the ancient system delivered its final message. Trial complete. Daniel looked toward the hologram. What was the purpose of all this? The answer came softly. To determine whether humanity could become stronger without becoming cruel. Daniel looked at the alien fleets around him. Thousands of species had survived because they had learned to work together. He smiled. We passed. Years later, the Galactic Council changed the rules of military training. Varkos 9 was no longer called a Deathworld. It became the galaxy's most prestigious academy. And above its entrance stood one simple warning. Do not send humans here unless you are prepared to make the training harder. Because the galaxy had finally learned the truth. Humans weren't dangerous because they were stronger. They were dangerous because every impossible challenge taught them how to become stronger. And whenever the universe asked humanity, can you survive this? Humanity's answer was always the same. Probably. But can you make it harder?